So in this class, you're going to learn all about how we can use essential oils to support our emotions. We'll be talking about both positive and negative emotions. If you can type into the comments some of the, whether it be positive or negative experiences, because I have a fantastic resource here, which is a wheel, which you can dive into both positive and negative emotions, and they can tell you, and it tells you the oils, the corresponding oils to use. So let me know what's going on for you and we can look it up. Okay, so when I first started studying nutrition now 9 years ago, and I was already well on my path of learning about this thing, how we store emotions in our body and how that affects our health. Because having been really poorly as a kid and really for 32 years, having very debilitating breathing difficulties, and interestingly, as this is coming up today and I'm talking about it, I'm actually feeling really breathless today. So whether that is unprocessed grief from abandonment as a child, or losing my dad, or losing my recent friend, you know, maybe that's coming up for me. So really fascinated in this area. A couple of the first books that I read in my studies were all about the emotions and how when we store emotions in our body, it can manifest and present as illness and disease. So one of the best, and let me know if you can see me okay, because it's not showing that it's coming up on the live, but I'm assuming that that's working okay. So give me a little wave or something if you can see me, all right? Because it's not showing up on here. Hopefully it is running all right. Okay, the time's ticking over, so it must be running. Okay, this book, The Molecules of Emotion, the amazing Candace Pert, rest in peace. She's she's got a PhD in science, and she is an amazing scientist who proved that there are receptors in the brain and in the heart and in the gut that store emotions and can manifest in illness. She proved this in a laboratory. Fantastic. So she actually measured the biomolecular basis of our emotions. She actually proved in a lab that you could measure the effect of emotions on our physical health. Because prior to that, we knew that I'm a little bit worried that this is not actually working. Nicole, can you give me a thumbs up and let me know that you can see me okay? Oh yeah, okay. Rightio, it seems to be, yep, it's popped up now. It seems to be working, okay. Just thought, oh my goodness, maybe it's not quite working. All right. So this was groundbreaking work where she actually measured in a laboratory the effects of the emotions on our health. And we all know that, you know, when we're feeling really in love, that is fantastically strong for our immune system. But what about when we store feelings of grief and feelings of resentment or anger or deep sadness? How does that affect our health? So that's what that book is about, Molecules of Emotion. Great, bit of a scientific read, but a fascinating book. And the other book is by Bruce Lipton, and this is called The Biology of Belief. And he has a lot of great stuff on YouTube about the link between the biochemical effects on our brain and on our health, our gut health and our heart health of emotions. Again, scientific, but proven that you know, when we store emotions deep in our organs, then that is going to affect our health. Now when we're storing emotions, they're stored in certain areas of our body. So if you've been doing the meditations with Jess, she talks a lot about storing the emotions in the root chakra and the sacral chakra, the heart chakra, and we're up to the throat chakra. And often when we don't have a voice for our emotions and we can't really label our emotions, they can get stuck, and they may feel that they're getting stuck in the throat area, and that can compound and make us feel insecure and mistrusting of people, and we can feel lacking in self-esteem. So all of these emotions are very closely linked to the health of our chakras. So it's interesting to tap into those meditations as a way of releasing emotions. And also when we're doing our breath work, when we're doing our meditations, when we're doing our yoga, it's really interesting to set an intention for that session, for maybe recognizing some emotions that we're sitting with, and then focusing on letting those emotions go. So when I was doing my yoga this morning, and I always finish with some affirmations, and then I draw an oracle card, so my intention for the day. And it was interesting what came up today, because this card came up. It was called Floating Memories, and it's all about releasing the past. So I just want to read this to you because I thought this was quite relevant. In releasing the past, you are paving the way to a brilliant future, and life will seem new and exciting. Do not hold on to feelings of failure or regret. Each experience of your life and your reaction to it was valid for that time. Past failures, losses, and pain all serve a positive purpose in our life. So regardless of whether you feel that your past experiences were positive or negative, you have grown from each one of them. You are who you are because of your history and all of your experiences, and they've helped you to grow in love and wisdom. Every experience has in some way blessed you. Embrace the past and forgive anything that needs forgiving. That's important to me. I'm going to come back to that. Liberate yourself from all illusions. Be fully present and remember that you are not the same person you once were, for life is forever changing. You may now move forward and explore life in whatever way your heart desires. When I first sit down with clients and I take their history and their family history and their 3 generations of history, and I look very closely at both positive and negative experiences since birth in 5-year periods, and I create a balance sheet for that person of all the positive and all the negative experiences and emotions, and then I try to track how it is that you've managed to get to where you are now, given the balance sheet of emotions, all right, because they're stored in certain organs. So, for example, the large intestine stores frustration, despair, and a feeling of holding on. The heart and lung, the lung particularly, is where we store grief, any heart-head conflicts, delusion versus reality. The small intestine stores concentration, mental power, and forcefulness. So if you have a compromised small intestine, if you have digestive issues, you may be feeling like you can't concentrate, or you're losing your mental power and you're losing that ability to plan. The heart is where we store loneliness, stubbornness, depression, feelings of really being low. The lymph and the bladder is where we store self-assertion, sadness, and indecisiveness. The kidney holds worry, fear, and hostility. The gallbladder and the liver, which work very closely together, store resentment, rage, and emotional blocks and failure to make decisions. So if your gallbladder is out of whack, you may have a lack of ability to plan for your future. The liver is about arrogance and lack of compassion and anger and hatefulness. The thyroid is affection, confidence, articulation, and shyness. Circulation is trustfulness and thoughtfulness and doubting. The stomach is where we store a lack of courage. And the spleen generally is about forgiveness, but also where we store positive emotions. So it's interesting to take an inventory for yourself and think about your own balance sheet of life and your own healing journey. Has it been a positive one or a negative one? Or, have you had deep traumas and upsets? And how have you dealt with that? Have you actually acknowledged those emotions and done any work to let them go? Because that in itself is a very powerful way of releasing the energy of the organs. So what I encourage my clients to do is some deep healing techniques. We use castor oil packing and oil pulling and breath work and yoga work, and working with the moon, working with the lunar cycle to release any stored up emotions, and working with fasting and intermittent fasting, and dry skin brushing to support the lymph and support the gallbladder and the liver, to let go of congestion and let go of these emotions that can be caught up. And we use visualization techniques. So the techniques that Jess is using, the meditations that, really tapping into and connecting with your younger self and blessing that version of yourself and allowing that to be released. So I've done a lot of work myself in this area, because having grown up making some really poor decisions, some that I could regret, I've done a lot of work on forgiving myself and forgiving the younger version of myself and having compassion for that younger version of myself where I may not have made the best choices in life, but it all makes up who I am. So I've used the oils a lot, and in the past couple of years there has been a massive shift for me in the feelings of self-esteem and feeling worthy, and the ability to forgive my previous self for making these poor decisions. And when I'm doing my affirmations, I have some rollerballs, like I have either forgive or cheer or motivate, and I use those oils on my wrists and on my forearms and under my breasts, and in my groin, the lymphatic area, to get those oils deep into the cell, to allow that process of forgiveness and allow that process of letting go. And while I'm rolling on my arms and that sort of thing, I say I forgive myself, and I allow these feelings and I let them go when I'm saying my affirmations. And I think that that's been a really powerful shift for me, using the oils to benefit the emotions. Okay, so what are emotions? Emotions are they are molecules. They're information-carrying molecules that bind and react to cell receptors. Candace Pert measured those in the laboratory. She actually identified the receptors and measured the impact of emotions onto the receptors of the cell. And then these emotions go into the cells, so they impact our function and our behavior. Now, we have three brains. We have the brain of the mind, the logical and the intellectual mind. We have the brain of the heart, where we have feelings that we store deep in our heart. And then we also have the brain of the gut, which is responsible for that gut feeling. And Lydia talks a lot about, gut instinct and gut feeling. And, 90% of the body's serotonin is involved in mood management, and that is produced in our gut. So if we have compromised gut issues, then that's going to impact our hormones. And I've talked before about that interconnected domino effect between our hormones, our immune system, our ability to metabolize food, and our ability to feel good about ourselves. So the three brains are connecting and communicating with each other all the time. This is the connection between the mind, body, spirit connection that we work so closely with in yoga, that we connect those, we work with the breath to move through feelings of strain in certain postures or feelings of strength in certain postures to help, rebalance this mind, body, spirit connection. Now, we instinctively process life's experiences. So think about your balance sheet and your own health journey. We have certain life experiences that can cause stress or overwhelm or upset or sadness or grief or whatever's going on. And we're processing these emotions all the time. Firstly, we start with the logic mind. We have to figure this emotion out. Then we have this feeling in our heart. We feel sad or overwhelmed or guilty or happy or whatever that emotion is. And then we can produce it. We can take it into our intestines, and we can have that feeling of being stuck or feeling cut off or feeling like you don't belong if it's a negative emotion. So feelings are really chemicals that can either help our health or hinder our health. All right, so Candace Pert proved that if we're feeling love, joy, connection, high vibration, energy, then we feel that at a head level, we feel it in the heart, and we certainly feel it in the gut, that we have a really strong, healthy, resilient immune system. But then also the reverse happens when we're feeling overwhelmed or stressed or threatened or scared or, fearful or deeply sad. So, and the reaction that we have will be also at head level. We could get head tension. We have the effect at the heart level with maybe conflicting emotions. And then, of course, we have it at the stomach level, where we may have an unsettled stomach or butterflies in the stomach or diarrhea, or, we're not digesting our food very well because we're so overwhelmed at heart level and we're so stressed at a head level. So how the essential oils work to help bring balance back into the logical mind, the heart health, and the digestive system is through the same three ways that I've spoken about before. So we use the oils aromatically, through smell. We use them topically by applying them directly onto the heart chakra, the throat chakra, the root chakra, that sort of thing, to the lymphatic system. And also then we can use them internally for shifting amazing results. Okay, so One drop of an essential oil is the equivalent of 40 trillion molecules of emotion. These chemical compounds service every cell in the body. Now, we've proven also that there are smell receptors in our lungs. There's smell receptors in our heart and in our stomach. So the essential oils support the cell receptors. They promote healthy immune function and they help maintain the cell's natural state. So aromatically, when we diffuse or when we simply smell, the smell of an amazing chemical constituent of the plant can help transport us. Remember, the olfactory nerve is linked to the limbic system, and the limbic system governs how we feel. So using a citrus oil, for example, like wild orange or lavender, or something really calming, something really happy. Spearmint is a great example. It transports me back to a really happy time in my childhood, and I instantly feel happy. So aromatically, we have a powerful way to affect the limbic system, which also then affects the state of the body. Topically, we can apply to the back of the spine, to the forearms, to the base of the feet, to the back of the neck, the back of the brain, very effectively for getting those molecules into the lymphatic system and into the blood system and changing our mood. Also, applying directly over the heart space. There is a beautiful blend called Console, and if I lose any friends, or I've had a few funerals lately, I always gift Console to people because it's such a powerful oil to use over the heart space and to use over the heart chakra to allow those feelings of grief to come up and be dealt with rather than being suppressed. And internally, we can use, lemon essential oil in our water to support our gut function, to support our liver, to support our gallbladder. We can use peppermint in our water, again, to support our digestive function. So we're not storing those emotions of anger and resentment and hatred in our liver and our gallbladder. We're moving them through the system. Now, these also can work really well in conjunction with things like enemas. You can help flush out the emotions from the body by doing these deeper cleansing techniques like oil pulling, castor oil packing, and enemas to support that flow of emotions through the body. But there is an amazing emotional aromatherapy kit with doTERRA. It is an enrollment kit, so if you wanted to get started with the oils, this kit is beautiful. Like, it's so gorgeous. It's got floral oils, mint oils, citrus oils, spice oils, herb and grass oils, and tree oils. Now, the tree oils, like forgive, very good for grieving, for sad, for feeling ashamed. The floral oils are really amazing for when you're feeling fearful, worried, or hurt. The mint oils are amazing if you feel insecure or anxious or apathetic. Citrus oils are incredible when you're feeling sad or distressed or gloomy or discouraged. And the spice oils are really good for when you feel bored. So cheer, I use cheer and motivate. If I've got something like the accounts to do in my business, something really boring, I will diffuse cheer and citrus and motivate to help support my mental clarity and my ability to focus and my feeling of not getting too bored. So moment to moment, we've got some amazing oils to support our emotions and to support, you can choose one or two blends that best meet your needs at the time. So some of the oils that I use when I'm feeling happy, and look, sometimes I'm happy but my kids are not, or I'm happy and my husband isn't. Some of the positive emotions. So if you're really wanting to, you're feeling joy and you're feeling playful and uplifted and carefree and cheerful and abundant and grateful and spontaneous, some of the oils that you may want to diffuse are your ylang-ylang or cheer or elevation, or citrus bliss is lush, tangerine, wild orange, spikenard, peppermint, green mandarin, and sunny citrus. And a lot of those you can use in your food as well. So you could put green mandarin in a chia pot. Is amazing. It makes me feel so happy. Again, spearmint. So spearmint, cleaning with spearmint makes me feel really happy. And then if you've got friends that are feeling sad or insecure, sadness, right? So sadness, you could be feeling pessimistic or grieving or dejected or unloved, or you've experienced a loss or feeling sad. That's interesting, right? Heavy-hearted, estranged, despair, or regretful. Interesting that it's some of the same oils. So chia Air for grieving, so bringing that support to the lungs. So air, the respiratory blend, very good. If you're feeling dejected, elevation is a great blend. Or rose for loss. Loss is console. That is a beautiful, beautiful blend. Feeling sad, ylang ylang. Defeated, eucalyptus. Heavy-hearted, peppermint. So it can change your state. If you're feeling despair, there's a beautiful blend called Hope, and all proceeds of Hope go to the Healing Hands charities. And doTERRA do this amazing amount of work around the globe with all of their charities that come under the umbrella of the Healing Hands Foundation. And some of the work that they're doing, oh my goodness, they're working with the Underground Railroad operation, which is to free children that are enslaved in sex trafficking. And oh my goodness, they're doing so much amazing work. So Hope is the blend it's a beautiful blend. It's a very citrus blend, very uplifting, and all the proceeds from that go to the charity work that they do, which is great. So this is quite a handy wheel to have, Nicole. That might be quite handy. You can have a look on the doTERRA website. I can post that. I've actually bought this at convention because it's laminated, and it's quite good for my kids to use to nominate, to identify a feeling. For years, I actually struggled with even being able to talk about how I felt, and because I was in quite abusive relationships, several in a row, I sort of chose, I made some pretty poor choices actually in my 20s, and I was in quite abusive relationships, and I didn't feel like I had a voice. I didn't feel worthy enough to have a voice in those relationships, and I was very, very quickly put down, and I was physically abused in a relationship as well. So for years, I felt like I didn't have a voice, and even growing up in my family, I was told if I didn't have something nice to say, I should say nothing. And so that stopped me being able to connect with my feelings, I think. So I've done a lot of work on that area for myself, and being able to voice how I'm feeling, and even being able to identify the feeling. Like I did do quite a lot of coaching, exploring this area, and identifying feelings, like identifying an emotion was really hard for me. Like, how do I actually feel about this? And a few years ago, we lost everything in a fire, and so I was really, I felt really guilty about it, because there was a whole real mess up with the insurance, and I really felt like it was all my fault. And we had to battle with the insurance company for a year, and then the financial ombudsman, to get any money out of them, because they were trying to put the blame on to somebody else. And it was an awful situation, and trying to even identify how I was feeling in that point was really difficult. Like I was not actually, I was stuck in my head with the thoughts about the experience, not the feelings. And yeah, so it's a lot of work. It's very, very difficult work to do, but worthwhile work in the healing journey. So that's a good resource. Anything else? Anyone else? Carolyn, if you're still there, do you want to mention any emotion that you may be feeling? But that is a great resource. And I love, I'm really drawn to cardamom at the moment. And I have my cardamom in my coffee, my 1 coffee a day, and I have cardamom in it. And when I looked up cardamom, interesting. Inebriated by anger, easily frustrated, objectifying others, blaming, unable to think clearly. But also, it can be very, it's about self-control and respect and tolerance and mental sobriety. So it's great to have, a few of these resources at your fingertips to know what oils are you being intuitively drawn to and why. So it's a great resource. The Hope blend, oh my goodness, it's so beautiful. The ingredients, bergamot, ylang ylang, frankincense, beautiful for feelings of hopelessness and traumatization and courage and hope and healing and rebirthing. So there we go. That's a little bit about emotions. If you want to go deeper, you want to ask me some questions, then shoot me a question. If you want to get yourself started with a kit, I know, Nicole, you've already got a kit. Caroline, you might have not got yourself a kit yet. This is a great enrollment kit. The emotional kit comes with a diffuser. Thank you very much for joining us. And any questions, just pop them in the group. Thanks for joining us. See you next time.